The world is changing. We have to admit that. And we must also admit that war is coming. The world has been preparing for war since the end of World War II. And global powers such as the United States and Russia have been antagonizing each other and preparing for possible war since the end of Cold War between the two giants. Currently, the world is polarized. The world is polarized because of the Russia-Ukraine war. There are a section of countries supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and there is a section of other countries criticizing the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now, the Russian-Ukraine war has been ongoing since 24th February 2022. And as we speak today, the war is 1 year and several months old. The war has attracted the attention of the United Nations. It has attracted the attention of NATO. It has attracted the attention of Africa and other global partners. In my view, the Russia-Ukraine war might be, and I repeat, might be the possible trigger to a World War III. Why am I saying that the Russia-Ukraine war might be the trigger for World War III? Currently, if you assess the occurrences in the war, almost, and I want to say that almost all countries in the world are concerned. Almost all countries in the world are concerned. Why are they concerned? They are concerned because they believe that if this war escalates, it might trigger World War III. We remember World War I ended in 1919. If I'm not wrong, 1918. World War II ended in 1945. In World War I, about 40 million people died. In World War II, about 30 million people died. And the after effects of World War II are still felt even today in places like Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, where the atomic bomb, nuclear bomb, was dropped. Are there possibilities of World War III? And if there is a possibility of World War III, how will this war be fought? Currently, countries are taking sides. I want to say that North Korea has declared support for Russia. And I see a possibility of Iran supporting Russia, which is evident because they have been supplying drones to Russia. I also see a possibility of China supporting Russia in this war. I also see a possibility of some African countries, including South Africa, supporting Russia in this war, and many other countries. On the other side, I see the United States, and I see the European Union, and I see Ukraine on one side, supporting the war against Russia. I have mentioned the case of China. Why am I saying that China is likely to support Russia in this war? Remember, China and the United States are currently at loggerheads. China is criticizing the United States intervention in Taiwan. Now, if China is criticizing United States intervention in Taiwan, that means that the United States is an enemy to China. The United States and China cannot belong to the same sides. If the United States supports Ukraine, then China will not support Ukraine. The only possibility that China can choose is Russia. Now we have North Korea on one side, we have Russia on one side, and we have China on one side. Those are global powers. On the other side, we have the United States, we have the United Kingdom, and other European Union nations supporting Ukraine. This can be a trigger to this war. The taking of sides in the Russia-Ukraine war communicates, evidences the possibility of World War III. The only thing that remains is a trigger. Who will invade first? Remember, in World War I, we talk about the immediate cause. The immediate cause of World War I was the Sarajevo assassination, which was considered as the trigger to World War I. In World War II, the case of Germany, who was dissatisfied with the resolutions after World War I, triggered World War II. World War III, who will be the trigger, or what will be the trigger for World War III? Since the war began, the likes of United States and European Union have been supporting Ukraine only militarily by supplying weapons. According to the United Nations, that is considered indirect support. I may say so. But if the United States directly invades Russia, that would be a trigger for war, a trigger for World War III. If the United States invades China, that would be a trigger for World War III. If the United States invades Iran, that would be a trigger for World War III. If the United States invades North Korea, that would be a trigger for World War III, and vice versa. We must understand that the world is ready for World War III. Countries have taken sides. Continents have taken sides. Regions have taken sides for World War III, in preparation for World War III. And this taking of sides is complete. The only thing that remains for World War III to start is a trigger. Who will trigger this war? And who will be held accountable for starting this war? That is the problem, and that is what most governments, what most countries fear. To be held accountable, to be blamed for the start of a global war. And I am worried. Why am I worried? If World War III starts today, the death toll will be, let me say, threefold that of World War I and World War II. Remember, I have said that in World War I, about 40 million people died. In World War II, about 30 million people died. And during these wars, the sophistication of weapons was very low. Technology was very crude. And I want to say that nuclear weapons were still not there. Can you imagine what would happen if another war is to happen today with the current technological developments in the world? If there is a global war today, how many people will die? And with the presence of nuclear weapons, with the presence of military planes, with the presence of submarines, with the presence of tanks, how many people will die? I estimate a threefold death toll, that of World War I and World War II, if there would be a third world war. Governments must be ready for war, and the only way to curb this war, the only way to avoid this war is, like I said in our recent discussion, the only way to end this war is for the two warring governments, the two warring parties, to sit down and engage on a one-on-one discussion on the issues affecting them. Not for the United States to dictate the conditions, not for the European Union to dictate the conditions, not for the United Nations to dictate the conditions for engaging in discussions. It is upon the Russian president and the Ukrainian president to engage on a one-on-one basis and find the facts, establish the facts behind this war. I think by doing this, they will be able to understand the problems affecting them. They will be able to understand the contentious issues that are leading to war. And if they are able to understand these issues, then they must be able to find a solution of addressing these issues. I said that they should be devoid of foreign intervention. They should be devoid of deliberations led by the likes of NATO members like the United States, United Kingdom, and the rest. They should engage on a two-party discussion that involves Russian delegation and Ukrainian delegation and establish the facts, find the intriguing issues affecting the two countries, and in that way they will solve the issues currently affecting the Russia and Ukraine, and possibly remove this fear of World War III. I have said that the world has taken sides, countries have taken sides, and regions have taken sides, and if and only if there is a trigger, then the world will be plunged into another global war, and the death toll in this current war would be massive, threefold, just to estimate. The only way out of this is for the two presidents to sit down and discuss their issues out.